Oh my gosh, we are live. Hey, how is everybody on this beautiful Monday? It is gorgeous outside. We've had a little bit of wind, so it's pushing all the smog and California yuck out, and it's just beautiful outside right now. And hi everybody, welcome to Hack Shack Studios, the studio where I do all my comic book work. I'm Thibert. I am a 35-year comic book veteran of this wild and wacky industry that we know and love called comic books. So welcome one, welcome all. We have Oni. What's up, brother? Hail, brethren. Yes, what's up? We have Mason. How you doing, Mason? Good to see you guys. Ooh, it's always weird because there's a delay in StreamYards, and then all of a sudden the freaking chat lights up, and I'm like, whoa, where did everybody come from? Yeah, you guys all just appeared at one time here. We have Matt Cisco. Hey, what's up, man? What's up? Hey, D Geek Art. Miss you, man. She's my con buddy. We hang out at all the local conventions together, WonderCon, Comic-Con Revolution. So I hope you're being sane with all this lockdown nonsense. So it's kind of hard. Oh, hey, Eric Weathers. We have a superstar in our midst. And I think, man, he kicked butt yesterday. He was, I'm not sure if he's in demand or if he rolled it over into another month. But I think his first month of Battlebrick Road ended last night. And man, he was over 40K when I checked out of that live stream. I think he had an hour to go. So I think he's well above 40K now. So congratulations, my brother. And if you haven't checked out Battlebrick Road, please do so. Eric Weathers is a good guy. It's a great concept. And that Scarecrow character looks freaking awesome. The designs are really interesting. I mean, it's amazing. There's been so many Scarecrow designs over, I don't know, since Scarecrows have existed. And it's always interesting when somebody can still do a new take on like an old, kind of concept or idea. And Eric Weathers did. So that's cool. Congratulations. Yeah. We're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about Black and White, this book right here. This book right here. It's been around for 25 years. And I was in short talks with a animation development company. We signed the contracts a week or so ago, and I had my first creative meeting with them today. So I'll tell you all about that and how it went and kind of what it's going to be. So we have Title 10. Hey, heckins, yeah. Yeah, this is a big day. This is crazy, man. This is the power of Comicsgate, the power of indie publishing. Owning your own IPs, I think it's the wave of the future. And Hollywood is starting to pay some attention. So the Comics Bear, what's up, man? Greetings, Art and chat. How you doing? We have Arthur Brown, the Uncanny. We've got a lot of bears. We've got a lot of bears in the chat. And now we have Artie Bear. What's up, Sheldon? Still planning on Comics-Con. Weren't they going to do it? Was it in May? Wasn't it last month? They said that. I mean, originally they were thinking the quarantine and things would be lifted, and I think they said May. So I don't know when they're planning on doing it. If you know, D Geek Art, please let me know. You are very welcome. You are very welcome, Eric. Great stuff, man. Sincerely. We have Velned. Congrats. Thank you. And we will get into some detail. I have a lot of things to talk about and go over. I also want to try to maybe get some drawing done this stream. So I kind of have a destination in mind, but not sure how I'm going to get there or get everything in. One of the other things was great over the weekend. I got out of the house because things have been more shops, more restaurants, stores have been open in the Southern California area. So we kind of hung out. We did some stuff. So what was it? It was an early Father's Day. I want to do some landscaping around the house, kind of update some stuff, and also be a little bit more drought resistant. So we were looking at some hardscape, some rocks, and different landscape materials. And my family took me to a big old rock quarry, and they had all kinds of different rock and stone and different things that you could do for your yard. So we did that, and we didn't wear a mask, and it was pretty cool. So we practiced our social distancing, but we did not wear masks, and it was cool, and it was kind of funny. So we ate at a restaurant, but we didn't go in because it wasn't open at the time. So we just kind of took, I guess, went through the drive-through, and then we were over in the Blick area, and Blick is an art supply place. So I got some new art supplies too, and I had to wear a mask for that one. So I put my mask on, and we had the one-way arrows and went through the art store. Amanda and I, she got some brushes and some new paint, and I got a bunch of new markers and ink and things like that. And I'm going to break those in, hopefully on this live stream. Like I said, I'm going to get some drawing done, but we'll see how it goes. And what else? Oh, and this was weird. This is when you know you've been locked away for too long. We were on the freeway and there was traffic. It was not quite bumper to bumper, but it was slow. It was slow going. And we were just hanging out in the car, windows down, listening to music, having a good time, just enjoying each other's company in the car. And we were stuck in traffic. And that's pretty sad, man, when you actually find pleasure in bumper to bumper traffic. And we did. So that was my Saturday. And then Sunday, we have a favorite restaurant, and it hasn't been open since the lockdown. So we heard that they were you could do like order, and then you could get like the mobile orders, and then you could just go there and pick up your food. And so when we got there, we found that the restaurant was open. And so I asked them, I said, is there room for us? And they said, sure. So I guess they just stagger the tables and everything. And nobody was wearing masks. The waiters and waitresses and all the staff weren't wearing masks, and nobody in the shop. And I'll tell you, man, I missed actually eating with other people. There's like an energy, because when you're removed from it, you don't realize what a restaurant is and what it entails. And so while we're there, we're like, it feels almost festive because there's life. There's other people talking, they're ordering, they're laughing, they're sharing stories, you're interacting with the help. And we had a great time, man. I actually took pictures and stuff. It was pretty fun. It was weird, just because of the situation, but we had a good time. And then on the way home, I live in Southern California, and I live in Corona, and there's a place called Norco that's really close, and it's the horse capital of the world or some such nonsense. And it's pretty rural, but there's a place called the Norconian Hotel and Spa, and it was built in the mid-20s, I think. And if you guys haven't heard this place, look it up. I'll give you a brief history of it. That place is amazing. And I didn't know it was that close to where we were eating. And it's kind of nestled back off the main street there. And we just drove up there and just drove around it. And it's not open anymore. The Navy, I think, has commandeered it. And it's a prison. It's a Navy base / prison. And the hotel sadly has just collapsed. It's in decay right now. So there's a lot of conversation about trying to restore it, and maybe the Navy giving it up for like historical, preservation, because it has quite a past. And I knew this part of it, but I didn't know it was as close to my house. It's funny that when you just kind of start exploring, you realize that some of the stuff is just a stone's throw away, and it is. And so we're driving, And there's a story that I knew, and it was right after Walt Disney had finished and they wrapped Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And so Walt wanted to, basically give a little bit of thanks to everybody that worked on the film and gave up a lot of time and had a lot of dedication towards it. And so he basically rented out the whole place. This place is amazing. And they had a huge party. Let me see. I have some images. Let me see if I can share it while I'm talking. Now, you guys might not find this interesting, but I just think that this stuff is pretty cool. That's not it. So this is it. And this is like I said, it's a stone's throw from my house. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And so they rented this out for, I guess, a weekend. And the funny thing is, it must have still been in the 20s around that time, or early 30s. I don't know when Snow White wrapped. And they had a big old party. And the women all had to stay on one floor. And the men, I guess if you weren't married, the single women stayed on one floor and the single men stayed on one floor. And so everybody partied, just kind of like the pandemic right now, where, I think one of the reasons why these riots and some of this stuff is happening is because people been just indoors too long and just, haven't had a chance to interact or do anything. And so just kind of pent up. And so what happened is this kind of a mini riot happened. And that Disney party got crazy, man, because it was open bar. Those guys everybody just got, shit-faced, and they just went crazy. And I guess Walt had an idea where they were at the dinner. He was going to announce that everybody was going to get some kind of bonus for their dedication. And so everybody kind of expected this bonus to happen, right? And so for whatever reason, Walt forgot. I think they said he got drunk. He was like pretty out of it. And so he didn't tell the people that they got the bonus at that party. So he gave the big speech, but he left out that one crucial part of it. So that mixed with a lot of long hours, not being able to cut loose in all that time, and then the disappointment of not getting a bonus, a lot of those people just said, screw it. And so they just took advantage of, the libations. They just got ripped, and they just partied like nobody's business. They said they were like just nudity in the pools, just, guy, girls just hooking up. And I guess even one guy, because there's horse stables and stuff. This place is massive, by the way. And this guy rode a horse through the lobby and up the stairs and was like just riding this horse around. And then I think he and the horse ended up flying out of an upstairs window. And it's absolutely crazy. If you guys get a chance and you're into Disney history, I've never heard this story until a couple months ago. And there's documentaries on it. It's absolutely crazy. And they said in the morning, like all those rules that were set in place, guys, girls on different floors, they were all like waking up in each other's hotel rooms and stuff. It was absolutely hilarious. And then so Disney had to kind of, he had to, save face. And I think he announced it later that they got the bonuses and they got everything under control. But that's just one brief part of their history. They also have, where is it? Let me see. I'll stop sharing. They had, let me see. They had the Olympics there, Olympic diving, because they have a big old Olympic-sized pool. There's a lake. This thing is crazy. And yeah, if you get a chance, I'm looking at photos of it now. I don't know quite how to share this with you guys, but there's also, this is what it looks like today. Let me find the photo. It's right here. Let me save it. Okay, I think I got it here. Oh shoot, it's not letting me save it. Let me see. Save as, let's see. There we go. Okay. So let me go back to the live stream. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So this is what it looks like today. It'll break your heart. And that photo that I showed you guys, that's just the tip of the iceberg, how gorgeous this place is. Let me see. Click that. Come here. So this is what it looks like today. So it's a prison. It's a naval yard / prison. So there's a bunch of bunkers all around the premises or the perimeter of the hotel, and you can kind of see. This isn't a great photo, but you can kind of see it's in disarray. It's in disrepair. The interior's pretty horrible. There's a bunch of paintings, like original commission paintings and stuff all over, and they're getting water damage right now. I know Amanda, when she was going to school, that a lot of the art colleges had offered to go in there and restore the paintings, and the Navy just wouldn't let them do it. So there has been effort and talk about trying to restore it, because we also, in this area in Corona and Riverside, we have the Mission Inn, which is also a national historical building / hotel. So I really think that they should restore this building, because I think it would be amazing. But yeah, so we just kind of hung out, and when I got home, I started looking into the history of the hotel. I found it absolutely riveting, just historically speaking. It only had, I think, maybe 15, 20 years of prominence. It was a Hollywood hangout, man. Everybody in Hollywood of those days hung out there. So I think in California, we had like Laguna Beach, we had Palm Desert or Palm Springs, and I think Vegas. But they were like hotspots for celebrities to hang out. And the Narconian was a big time, like rub elbows with celebrities and stuff like that. And then during the wartime, there was the Depression, which slowed it down. And then there was the war, Pearl Harbor and all that. So they turned the hotel into, I think that's when the Navy took control of it. They took control and they turned it into a naval hospital. And then I think they just didn't relinquish the control. But yeah, if you guys are interested in like history and stuff like that, check it out. Let me get caught up. Okay, Watchmen. For you, they will most likely to edit the white out of the black and white. Watch out, Art. They don't butcher your life's work. Oh, this is perfect, man. I'll tell you, this was the conversation I had today. So I'll get into. It was a good conversation, meeting of the minds. And so if you're coming in late, I have signed a deal with the animation development company. I'll start releasing names and companies and stuff like that as we go, because it's still pretty early on, and I think I just don't want to jinx it. But there are contracts signed, so I don't know if I can. And so I had a really good conversation with, his name's John, and I told him all my fears, Watchmen, because I had all those. So I was saying, because this guy knows comic books inside and out, and I said, Kurt Busiek actually said that I was racist because black and white. He said black and white was racist. He called me a racist. And he said, because the black character isn't African American. So to me, that's more racist and on the nose than just having him as a code name black, you know. But apparently, you know, Kurt thought it was racist. And so I told him about that. And he said, isn't Kurt a little Looney Tunes these days? And I said, yeah, that's kind of the story, but he still said it. And I think it's worth mentioning, put all the chips on the table, put all the cards on the table and get it all out in the open. And so he said, I don't think it'll be a problem. He sold shows. He has, he has wisdom. He has some expertise. And he said, I don't think it'll be a problem. And if it is, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there, and we'll assess if the deal is good enough. Then we could maybe talk about just coming up with a different title. But the characters are obviously have to be referred to as black and white, and those are his words. But we could possibly change the title, so it wouldn't be black and white. It would be called something else. And so we were also talking about, the tagline, which is in a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. So it gets into some gray area tonality as far as life and how these two deal with a gray area world, and how what comes out of it is their form of justice, which is black and white, which is absolutes. Like, there are absolutes. There is good and evil in the world. There are grays as well, but they see through the gray, and then they deal with life in that way, or at least the way they dispense their form of justice, which is the black and white justice. So we were talking about the concept there and the ideas, and we're talking about probably starting at the age of around 8. He said 7 is a little early, but 8 and up is kind of the age group that we're going for. And so we were kind of thinking that we would do away with some of that more gray area stuff, and deal with possibly just the more straightforward good versus evil template, where there's clear good and clear bad. We'll figure that out as we go with it, but just so it doesn't get too convoluted with kids, so we don't get too heady with the concepts and the ideas, which is something I wanted to explore in the comic books, especially later on or down the line. But for a kids cartoon show, it may be a little bit too much, but we'll see what we can get in there and how it fits organically. The one thing I did like, well, there was a lot of things I liked about John, but one of the things is that everything's still on the table, and we're going to see how things go organically as we develop the Bible and as we put the show together. So I like that it's all on the table at this point, but we understand some of the pitfalls and the potential problems. But the one thing we did like, he loves the 80s, like G.I. Joe and Transformers and those things. And most of those had catchphrases or taglines. So we already have one, which is justice can only be black and white. So that could kind of be a battle cry, like Avengers Assemble or something like that. So, his head's in the right place, where also he has designers and people that were behind Ben 10, the Ben 10 show, as potential designers and stuff for this show. So we're going to do that. And also, I threw out that I know some people, and I said, would you mind if I contact people like Kevin Nolan or Sean Cheeks Galloway or Tom Bancroft or some of these guys, and maybe get some design takes on the characters for animation, because that's their language. I mean, it's not Nolan, his language, but he did do some Bible stuff for the Batman animated, and those things they're beautiful. They also, Mike Mignola did some as well, and they kind of drew in a more simplistic animation style, and they were gorgeous. So we're open to that as well. So, and one thing is, he already said we'll be very transparent with this stuff. So he said we can show you guys stuff. We can do that. He'll probably come on the show down the line, and we'll talk about it. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, just from a creative standpoint. I mean, if nothing more comes of it, it's going to be a lot of fun developing this. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing other artists' take on this as far as design of the characters and the world. There's some characters that I've had written and even design work for that have never seen the light of day. And so those characters will probably be in the animation pitch. So you guys will probably get to see some of this stuff first as animation versus the comic book. And we also talked about a possible animation version of the comic book as well. So we might do an animated take based on this Bible. We may do some comic books as well. So this is really freaking. I don't want to get too excited. I always like gotta pinch myself, but this is really, really good stuff. And he is saying all the right things. Sometimes I get a little bit nervous when people talk too much about, it almost feels like they're placating. But this guy, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like he's been down this road before and he just doesn't bullshit. You know what I mean? So it doesn't feel like he's blowing smoke, because a lot of those Hollywood guys, they just tell you anything. And one of the things when my wife and I, Pamela, were pitching, we had killer representation at one time. We had, oh my gosh, I always gotta slow down. It's not, it's William Morris. It's not Philip Morris. It's William Morris. We had representation from them. It's a big Hollywood, representation company. They do movie stars. They do screenwriters. They do directors. They do everybody. And one of the good things about if you sign with them is that they can get you in contact with all these people, since they rep all these people. So you can actually put a production, or you can get people attached to your project relatively quickly. And we did for the black and white live action. At one time, we actually had Alec Baldwin, and he was married to Kim Basinger at the time. So of all things, I mean, this is when Batman and the Shadow was happening. So it sounds weird now to have Kim Basinger as white, and as I think Alec Baldwin would be good as black, but it seems a little weird now to talk about it. But at that time, it made perfect sense because they were viable actors. And I'll tell you, we were talking salaries, and it came out how much Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger make, and at the time, the Marvel money was there and the Image money was there, and I was like, holy crap, they don't get paid that much money. I mean, it's good money, but it wasn't comic book money at the time. So it was pretty weird. It seems so surreal now to even think about it, but we had meetings, and it was interesting. So one of the things about those meetings as well is that everybody says, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Yes. And so everybody just blows smoke. The problem always is that nobody talks in any kind of realistic way. And I do believe that that's why the world is kind of a dangerous place right now, because nobody wants to talk about the real issues. They want to talk about all the window dressing of the issues. Just a tangent real quick, just even on, the John or George was his name, Floyd, with the police thing. We want to say all the police and police precincts and all this stuff is evil and bad, and the police are bad. And nobody wants to focus on just, it's the action of one person. One person did that. And then they say no justice, no peace. Justice is being served. Those guys are behind bars right now, not just the one cop that choked the guy out, but the others that watched. And there will be a trial, and there will be due process. That's called justice. What Black Lives Matter and what they want is they want vengeance, or they want some kind of it's something else. It's not justice. So that's my little political rant. But I think that's kind of like people want to feel good. They want they're more thinking with their heart than their logic. And that's when I'm going in with Hollywood, my eyes are pretty open. So I think Watchmen's the one that asked that question early on. So yeah. So Norco are pain meds. That's funny. Oh, thank you, Junkyard Dunn. I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a big couple weeks for us, and my wife and I are trying not to get too excited. But after my meeting today with John, it does really feel like he's not the Hollywood blowhard type. Because we were talking about real things, like I said, with racism, with black and white, just the title, and also she's Whitney's song is she's half, white or American, and then she's half Chinese, so she's a half and half. So we brought that up. We talked about that. He says no at this point. He says it still would check out off that box of Hollywood diversity, and then Reed is British. So the reason I like that is because I want black and white to be international. I want them to go into interesting locations and to have missions in different parts of the world. So I always think that that's one of the fun parts about spy stories is they travel and they go to different locales, and that's what I want with black and white. And the cool part about it, hopefully it will be part of the animation too, because I think it would be fun, not so much educational for kids, but they'll get to see all these different backdrops of things, and the basic crux of the story, or the basic cartoon is just going to come down to that they're robot hunters pretty much. So they're just going to kind of get in and just blast a bunch of robots. So what kid wouldn't want to see that? And then the next was he brought up that Reed uses a gun. And so guns are kind of the hot topic. They always seem to come and go within our culture. And Hollywood seems to have a love-hate with guns. They made a huge living, exploiting gunplay in their films. And then all of a sudden they become hypocritical and they want real people not to have guns. I don't know what that's about. So we had a real heavy conversation about gun use and Hollywood's take on it. And so one of the things that's built into the gun use in the story is that Reed is a little bit kind of like Batman from Batman Beyond, even though I had this idea before Batman Beyond. Batman, or Black and White, actually was 1993 when I came up with the idea, which predates Batman Beyond. But one of the things is in that where when Bruce Wayne stops being Batman, he has to pick up a gun and aim it at that person, just because he's having a heart attack. He's experiencing, chest pains. And so that's the only thing he could do to stay alive. And so then he kind of compromises his belief system. And so then he stops being Batman. And I think part of it was because he realized that his health isn't as good as well. But the gun was kind of the metaphor. And so one of the things is what led up to his dad's death, Reed Blackett, aka Black's death, was some of this gunplay, some of this. I don't want to get into details. I don't want to spoil it, but there's some of that, and so he just got kind of tired of the absolute finality of killing, and that part of his job was execution. Sometimes they have to. They have to execute people. And so killing without conscience and killing without knowing who these people are or any of their backstories or anything like that. So that kind of led up to this. And so in the story proper for the book that's out right now, I don't get into the backstory too much because also I didn't want to get too heavy-handed with an anti-gun message, because I'm not anti-gun. I just want to be clear. I'm not anti-gun. I think guns are the big equalizer. I think before people were able to arm themselves with firepower like that, it was the biggest and the strongest. So if you were a bully and you had muscle and you had strength and size, you could take anything you wanted from anybody. And so with a gun, even a small person, a woman that wasn't the same strength and probably will never be, just because of their the way they're made, the way God made them. But if they have a gun, they can stop anybody. They can stop anybody, and all they have to do is pull a trigger. And so I feel like the gun, the invention of gun is one of the best things that ever happened to our society. Can it be abused? Can it be used and abused? Of course it can. But by and large, I think it actually is the great equalizer as far as humanity is concerned. So anyway, that's my tirade on guns. So of course, all this came up this morning talking to John and getting his take on things too, and he's pretty much in agreement. And so the one thing that we did in the story, that I did in the story with Black and White, is that the gun is non-lethal. So I figured this is a future tense story. In this made-up future, there's robots, there's high-tech stuff. So one of the things is that I'm not going to spoil, because if you haven't read the book, there's the guns use a certain type of fuel to use as projectiles. And so think of it as kind of maybe plasma or something like that. And so it's kind of a go between like a Star Trek phaser, set to stun, and a plasma cannon or something, or a plasma rifle. So it's somewhere in between there. And so what it will do is it'll work like a bullet. It'll put you down quick, but it won't kill you. It's non-lethal. It'll probably mess you up pretty bad, but it will not kill you. And it's instant. It's instantaneous. And so, oh gosh, I want to tell you why. But in the story, because of the way Whitney is, aka White, you realize that you don't want to give her a lethal weapon, because most likely she will use it and abuse it, and for all the wrong reasons. So we talked about that, and so he was like, "That's good." And I think Hollywood, because you have to do all these focus groups, test groups, all this stuff, that they would probably like that aspect, that it's kind of a non-lethal resolve to a problem. But he liked G.I. Joe. He likes gunplay. So there's still going to be gunplay in the story. It just, our heroes won't use it as, it won't be fatal. So their weapons just will be more humane. Let's see. Oni64 says, I can see Chrono Mechanics as a Cartoon Network animation show. Yeah, and actually I am in talks still with Chrono. And I thought Chrono would actually happen first. This Black and White thing just came out of the blue. So yeah, I wasn't pursuing it or anything, and it just kind of happened. And this guy doesn't mess around, man. We're moving really fast. By this Tuesday, we're hoping to have an outline for the basic outline for the show. So we're not messing around. We're getting right into this stuff. And like I said, man, he doesn't mind being transparent with it. So as the stuff develops, you guys, I'm going to get to show it to you. So that'll be a lot of fun. So it won't just be me hoarding all this stuff. We'll actually, just like with the comics and everything else I do, we'll be able to show you how it's developing. So we'll show you how the cartoon show is developing, because at this point we don't have a network, so we don't have a corporate overlord, so we can do anything we want with it. And that's another thing I like about it. Like, we can develop this without a corporate overlord. So pretty much we're going to go in as executive producers and have the show already built, and they're just going to buy it, and that's it. So we're not going to develop it with, Cartoon Network or with any of these companies. We're going to pretty much do it ourselves, and we're going to fund it ourselves. So all the development stuff, everything, it's all going to be done by us. So there's going to be no, corporations or test groups. And at this point, once we get it done and try to sell the show, then there's going to be those considerations. But we're also coming in from a different point of view. We're coming in with a fully developed show with comic books, with concepts, with I'm attached as developer, as executive producer, and as creator. So I have a lot of say in how the show will be developed and what's going to happen. So at least at this moment in time, it will be exactly what myself and the production company want it to be. So there's not going to be a third party that's going to give us notes at this moment in time. And then if there's a good deal on the table, financially from a network, then we'll consider changing, and like John says, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I like that, but at this point, it's going to be exactly what we want it to be. No compromise. We do, he understands animation. So I understand it on some level, but he understands it way beyond me. So I bring the world, I bring the characters, and then he'll bring the knowledge to basically turn that into a kids show. So it is going to be from ages 8 and up. So it is designed for not, like young kids, but younger kids. So I'm kind of thinking, he's talking with Ben 10 people, and so I like the Batman Adventures, the Superman show that Warner Brothers did. Batman Beyond is actually one of my favorites. I love the way they did the future. They don't say what year it is or anything. It just kind of is matter of fact. It just is. And I want to do that with Black and White as well. And one of the things with Black and White is that it's a future story, but it's kind of a made up future. It's not really based in any of our reality. So we're not going to be beholden to any real world type restrictions. And I want to make it kind of, like Big Trouble in Little China, where there were supernatural things that happened, but it just kind of felt right. The characters didn't really make reference to that. It was, the outsider did. Jack Burton was like, this is weird, but everybody else was kind of down with it. Like, oh yeah, there are spirits. There's, multiple hells. There's all these things. And so I kind of want to do it that way. So all the super science, because it is kind of, Black and White is a sci-fi type story, but it also is going to have supernatural elements to it that we're going to introduce, which in the Black and White ongoing comic that we only got one issue out, we already started going in that direction. So if Kevin Thompson is in the chat right now, he likes this character. Her name's Juju, and she's basically, she can raise the dead. So she's a Valdoon priestess. And so what she uses is black magic filtered through science, super science, to raise her zombie warriors. So we're going to have super science meets, supernatural. And I think, God, it's going to be so much fun, man. You guys are going to just see imagination just run rampant. This show is going to be, it's going to be focused. It's going to be what it is, but it's going to go all over the place. I don't like limited concepts. I don't like things that have too narrow a focus. One thing I like about characters, like comic book characters, is like you could have Spider-Man. Okay, let's use Spider-Man. And Spider-Man can hang out with super science, like he can hang out with the Fantastic Four, which is a sci-fi concept, and then he can hang out with Brother Voodoo. You know what I mean? Like within the same universe. And I like that idea. My neck's a little cold. It's actually a little cooler today. So we can go any place. We can go all over the place with this thing. Supernatural meets sci-fi with James Bond super spy elements to it, and with vigilante superheroism in it. So it's gonna be fantastic. Can you tell I'm excited? Oh, I'm excited. It could be. I don't know, man. Have you seen those? Oh my! You talk about jealous. Those cyber frog. I don't know if they're going to be action figures or just statues. They look like they're about this tall, and maybe a foot and a half. And those things look phenomenal. They look exactly like his character. I love stuff like that. So I'm jealous of him. But yeah, things are happening, you guys. It's very cool. CGI, we haven't got that far. All the drawings and stuff are going to be practical. Let's just say they're probably they may be drawn digitally, but they're not going to look like CG models. You know what I mean? They're going to look like 2D with three-dimensional rendering, like Photoshop rendering, like painting and stuff like that. So they're going to be 2D images. At least the Bible is at this point. So I don't know if these artists are drawing, on a tablet. I don't know if that classifies as computer or not. But they're not going to look like, a CG rendered character. They'll be really heightened, with digital coloring and stuff like that, but it'll still be based on a 2D image. Motion comic, I don't know, man. The sky's the limit. This guy has freaking connections. I went down the rabbit hole over the weekend and just all the connections and the connections to the connections. And one of the big connections we have is we have Titmouse. Oh, God. I just said it. Oh, you guys, look at the more I talk, the more I start saying stupid shit. Yeah. So things I'm not supposed to. Yeah. So we may have like Titmouse involved. So it looks pretty darn cool. If I keep talking about it, you guys are going to get me to say a bunch of stuff I don't want to say. Movie or series? It's going to be serialized, which I love. I love doing stuff like that. I love telling a story. One and dones are okay. Like movies, 2-hour movies. But I think for me, I like to just keep telling stories and evolving characters and their world. So at this point, it's a series. So one of the things we're going to do with the Bible is the first season is going to be detailed. So we're going to have 26 episodes, all detailed out, and we'll have all the characters that are going to be in those issues or in those stories. So highlight, so this villain, this robot, this whatever, and so we'll have that in the Bible. And then we're going to have an outline for the second season. So I know enough about animation to know that the second season is where the licensing hits, and that's when you start making the good money, because animation pretty much first season is real. It's kind of break even. So that's why it's good for myself and the production company to go in with executive producer credits, creator credits, and also that we will come in as creative liaisons, or we'll be writing episodes and directing episodes and working on the stuff ourselves. So by doing that, we can wear many hats and make more money. Because if we just sold the show straight out, that would pretty much be it for the first season. You'd probably get some points on the back, but it's not that much. You don't make that much money off the first season. The second season is usually where the toys come in, and you start getting licensing deals in the second season. And as far as Matt Cisco, just to stay focused on this idea, is also he has good connections with Netflix and Amazon Prime. So Netflix is more of almost like like cliffhanger endings, kind of like what was it, Stranger Things, where it almost picks up right where the one left off. He said that with animation, they're not as dictatorial. They don't really push that on them. And he said even like the live action stuff, they don't as much anymore. It was kind of like a Netflix thing, but I think that because that's what we were talking about too. I said I think that that idea is limiting. I think it works for some things like Stranger Things. It worked, but a lot of the other Netflix shows that were structured that way, those guys just didn't understand it. I think you really have to I don't even know what the insight would be, but you have to understand how to do that properly, because even the second season of Stranger Things I thought fell apart. There's a lot of people that say the third season just because it got kind of jokey and a little bit more silly. But I think as a serialized show, it worked. I think as a serialized idea, the second season was too all over the place. It wasn't that focused. So yeah, I think that he said that they're not as they don't push that agenda as much as they may have in the past. And he said especially if the show is already developed, and they like that. They like if the show's already developed, then they can just kind of brand it and give money to actually put the show together, which would be just time in the animation aspects to actually draw everything and put the show together. And then he said Amazon Prime, but he has some reservations about Amazon Prime, which I'm not going to go into right now. We have James Dean Anderson. Hello, Art. Tried to call last night. Congrats on the news. Yeah, it's been very, very busy. So if you could just answer that message, just type it out, it would be a lot faster. So if you have any questions, that would be cool, because I can kind of dedicate my time that way. It's been pretty nuts around here, so I apologize for missing the phone call last night. Aaron Alfecci, what's up? Thank you so much, man. I do appreciate it. I hope there's not a trail of turnips behind Art as he's talking to all these Hollywood players. I'm not sure what that means. I do like turnips, though. They're delicious. Kick Alec Baldwin. Yeah, this is all older stuff, man. This is like, early mid 90s. Unchained Spirit. I'm a big fan of how everything in the story sounds with black and white. Art, you are planning this to be an ongoing series. The animation, yes. The comic books, what I'm going to do with the comic books is I'm going to do one and dones. So once volume 2 of this series comes out, I'm going to do just one and dones. And what I'm going to try to do, I'm hoping that, oh my gosh, if Black and White Volume 2 can do better than Volume 1, it'll give me more time to sit and focus on doing the book. And I'd like to get more of the book done before I crowdfund, just so there's less pressure and I can get it to you guys quicker. Because I realize now going into and a lot of Comicsgate guys, there's a lot of growing pains, you guys, because I think John Malin says it best. Like what artists think they can do and what they can do in reality are two different things. And especially with what we're doing, where we're wearing all the hats, we're writing, penciling, inking, overseeing, coloring, lettering, and then all of our different vendors, and then trying to promote Indiegogo wise, promote our Indiegogos, our live streams and stuff like that. It's a lot of different, it's a big juggling. So I would like to, I think I made a mistake. So having hindsight now, I think one and dones are a better way to go, because it just takes too long. If they're serialized, it takes too long to get the next book. So once Volume 2, Black and White Volume 2 comes out, then it's going to be all one and dones. And so what I'm probably going to do, also because it's hard to tell an epic tale in 60 pages, I may expand the page count. on those future stories. And I want to do the same thing with Chrono Mechanics. Although I think Chrono Mechanics, I believe I can do an epic tale in 60 pages, because the Chrono Mechanics that's up right now on Indiegogo, and if you haven't checked it out, please do, because it is an original, one of a kind concept. Trust me, there's going to be nothing like it. When you guys sit and read it, it should feel completely original and fresh and unique. But with that concept, I did tell an epic story in 60 pages. It's just paced out differently, and I can do something like that. So I think with Chrono, I can do in 60 pages. Black and White, we'll have to see. I don't know what the page count will be at this point, but it most likely will be higher than 60 pages. So yeah, so the cartoon will be ongoing. Future Black and White comic books will be one and done. And even if we do the animation, like we do an animated kind of style for Black and White, like a comic book, it will still be a one and done. Because I just think the crowdfund idea is better suited for that. If I could put stuff out on a monthly basis like Marvel and DC, then, you know, an ongoing we could possibly do. But I mean, look how hard it is for those guys to do it. And they have a whole editorial staff, and they have, you know, money. I don't have any of those things. It's just me and my wife part-time. So Oni64 says EBS will be very proud of you, Art. He might want to give you a kingpin hug. A kingpin hug. That sounds lethal. It sounds like it could hurt. Oh, you guys on Kim Basinger was a superstar, sex symbol. You haven't aged all that gracefully either. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way at all. I was just saying, like, I don't know. It just seems, I don't know. It also seems kind of, not that I'm going to get hung up, but she's not Chinese. It seems a little Hollywood whitewashing, but to be honest, the way I draw her, she's probably way more American than she is Chinese looking. Although all the supporting characters look very Chinese. Nova Blast says, good point. Let's get to the root of the problem. Yeah, you guys, I was surprised because I thought it was going to get a little testy or a little heated because people are very, very short fused these days, and there's a lack of understanding, I think, with people. There's an unwillingness to see the other side. And my conversation with John, who's going to be producing and putting together the animation Bible with myself, was very cool with all that stuff. And there was no hesitation. You know, it was all very matter of fact. So he understands exactly what's going on, which was cool. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Yoko Anna. What's up? All of us in CG are so damn proud of you, Art. Ethan will be over the moon. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I just hope that we can make you proud, that it'll be an animated show that people will love. And I really, really want there to be a second and a third season, because I think at that point it will be substantial. You know, then we'll have toys and we'll have all that other stuff. I'm late. Is this going to be a DVD or streaming service? I think right now, John, who's going to be my partner on this, he's thinking streaming, but everything's on the table. So at this point, we're really developing the show. So we're going to develop the show independently and finance it independently of networks. And then we're going to shop it as a finished, completed show to the networks. We may even, he talked about, we may even have like a teaser trailer. It just depends. It depends on how excited we are about it and how much money we can generate to pay for everything. And that's not going to come from me. The money generated is not going to come from me. But if we do the comic books, and if we crowdfund them, possibly, the animated black and white comic books, possibly we could use that money not only to pay for the people that worked on the books, but we can pay for or put that towards a kitty to pay for some animatics or some stuff like that. It's the sky's the limit, man. The sky's the limit. No politics, art, BLM, are communists. Yeah. They don't want equality. They want redistribution of resources by violent means, if necessary. These powers above them stroking these tensions. Yeah, I feel like I don't want to agree, just because I want to be somewhat middle ground. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I guess tick people off, but I do agree for the most part. I do agree, Spirit's Car. I want to be way more outspoken about this stuff, but I'm really I don't want it, the show to turn into too much politics, but I really do agree. I think it is pretty shameful that a lot of these production companies are putting money into Black Lives Matter. They're like financing, a borderline terrorist organization. They're putting money in and at the same time they're like downsizing. Like Disney is investing money and giving money to these organizations when they furloughed a ton of employees, and they're cutting back and they're taking out loans. Like, where's this money coming from? Like, if you have that kind of money, why don't you give it to your employees who stood by you, that are on hard times right now? You're giving it to these people. I think even Bad Robot, are giving money to these organizations. They're basically funding, borderline terrorist organizations, or at the very, very least, people that are kind of fueling the fire. Because I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this and I'm going to drop it. Okay. What happened to, is it George Floyd or whatever, Mr. Floyd? Whatever happened to that guy was a cop and that person. It was horrible. It was a horrible loss of life. It didn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen. But does it mean that the cop was racist? Does it mean that the cop hated that guy? Does it mean anything beyond that? Maybe the cop just had some anger issues. Maybe the guy had some misplaced problems. Maybe the guy, the cop that did it even has some has a screw loose. I know that, I'm pretty sure he had a history of violence, or at least, inappropriate behavior. So can we just back up and just take our hearts away from it for a minute and just go, maybe it was just an asshole. Maybe just this guy was a freaking a-hole, right? This cop. And those other three that watched, a-holes as well. And when I mean a-holes, I mean fucking a-holes. I mean assholes. I don't mean like, oh, he's just a casual ass. No, I mean this guy is fucking dangerous and he's an asshole, right? And he did this thing, this horrible, horrible thing. That guy did not deserve it. For what the police call was and all that, it was way over the top. Okay. But it's the action of one guy and three guys that watched. So there's 4 people that were involved. So 3 were just complacent, serve and protect. Well, no one was protecting that guy, not even from the police themselves. This has got to start. The police have to start policing themselves. We need organizations. We already have them. What is it? I forget the organization that polices internal affairs. They already have organizations like that. So there needs to be more psych evaluations. When people show history of things like this, then they need to be taken off the force, try to be rehabilitated or retrained, and then brought back out if they can. If not, give them a desk job or something else. There's a lot of things that we can do before we start playing race card. This guy, as far as I know, there was no racism other than a narrative, a small narrative that says white cop, black person, racism. It automatically goes up. And I just don't think that it was necessarily that. Let's have a trial. Let's hang this guy out to dry from facts, logic, and his peer group judging him, and then dispensing justice with a verdict, due process. This is justice, you guys. No peace, no justice. That's insane. No peace, no justice. Justice is happening. He's behind bars. That's justice. Those 3 guys that watched, they're behind bars. This guy is up for 2nd-degree murder. That's a major charge. And it had been upgraded from like manslaughter or whatever the hell it was initially. So the likelihood of this guy and those other 3 going and spending a long time behind bars is looking pretty good. That's justice. That's how we in a civilized society deal with justice. That is justice. Okay, where's the not justice? Where does that exist? Would you rather if we just hang that guy out? We just erect a hanging tree or get a hanging tree and just lynch the guy right in the town square? Is that the justice? If so, what kind of justice is that? That's not justice. That's vengeance. That's knee jerk. That's horrific. We've evolved since then. We have due process. That guy will get his time in court. There will be evidence that is brought. There's also that they probably knew each other. They worked at the same club. It was a small club. How did they not know each other? They were bouncers. So there's a lot to this story that hasn't been told yet. But to just automatically assume that it's racism and then start destroying properties. I'm not saying that Black Lives Matter is. There's other elements that are involved too. But if there weren't these rallies and there weren't these peaceful protests, it wouldn't bring these other people involved. And also, Black Lives Matter doesn't always end peacefully. A lot of times it doesn't. So they are a little bit of the fuel that is fire, is being thrown into the mix. So if they stop this, then there'd be a few innocent people that died during this. There would be businesses that wouldn't have to worry about spending all the money to rebuild. There wouldn't be these things. This is not how you deal with problems. And also, if you keep saying Black Lives Matter, we're not dealing with the problem. The problem is the police. It's bad cops. Not all the cops. There are some bad cops. They're bad people. There are bad people amongst us. There's good people. There's bad people. And there's all in between. Cops are no different. Cops are no different. The world is not a perfect place. This shit does happen, and it's horrific. But we hold those people accountable. Not all the fucking police. Not all white people. Not all of this shit. This narrative has to stop because it's only going to end in really, really horrible, in a really horrible way. And you already see the tip of the iceberg. These people got to get over themselves, man. If you want to help, put pressure. Don't call it Black Lives Matter. Go after the police. Not in a hateful way, not in like all police are racist and all this other stuff, but start actively trying to figure out how we can get better cops, how we can educate them, how we can make sure that there's checks and balances to make sure that maybe hotheads or people that have unchecked anger issues get taken off the force or get put into different positions where they don't interact with people. to the same extent. It's a tough job, you guys. Being a cop cannot be easy. It cannot be easy. The shit that they see on a daily basis, man. The humanity, they get to see humanity at its worst on a daily basis. So I would never, ever pretend to walk a day in their shoes, but I try just so I can be fair. After the riots, guns are okay again. LOL. We had that conversation. John and I had that conversation. He said it hasn't got to that extent. So as far as he's concerned, guns are still on the table. So James D says, isn't Mon white and Japanese? Yeah, we could use her, definitely. She's about the right age too. I think she'd be good. We just got to get her into some like fight training. Oh, Harry Cavill. Yeah. And he's got the accent already. I think he would be really good. And also, I don't know if this is kind of an effed out idea, but I do like who's the guy who plays Thor? Chris Hemsworth. So I like Chris Hemsworth as well. The reason I think Cavill could do it, although I haven't seen him in a lot of humor based stuff. But I'd like to see him more if he could bring the humor. I'm pretty sure he could, because with Black and White, I don't want it to be like jokey, but I do want it to be like he's like Black is very charismatic, and quippy. You know, that he can be witty, not necessarily like obvious jokes, but and I think that. Chris Hemsworth has that naturally. He's got that innate sense. And the only reason I said effed out is because it seems like that guy's being put in a lot of bad movies. And I think he's going to get used and abused by the Hollywood system pretty quick. I think that guy's got to get some better management and get some better roles. Otherwise, I think he's going to possibly end up being a joke. And that'll be sad because that guy's a really good actor. I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg with that guy. This is a cartoon or a movie. It's going to be a serialized cartoon. So it'll be a cartoon show, possibly streaming like Netflix or something like that, or Amazon Prime, which is kind of what we're looking at this point. Hail guns. Yeah. Man, I'm all over the place, you guys. So thanks for hanging with me. Yeah, and you know what? Cavill and Hemsworth, they're the right height too, because I want to make sure that Black has a good stature. Because I think if you're going to have a fighter character, it's going to help. It's going to help because if you have a character that's fighting many people at one time, I think there has to be some kind of for believability, there has to be a certain look. And I always saw Reed Blackett as a substantial sized person. Yeah, Cavill is great. I liked it's kind of an underrated movie, but what the hell was it? They tried to remake, or they did remake The Man from U.N.C.L.E. It was a TV series, I think, in the 60s. And I think he was a spy in that, if I'm not mistaken. And it was pretty good. I thought the sensibility was kind of like if we did a black and white live action, it would probably be like that. And who's the director? Oh my gosh, I like his movies a lot. What was the one where they were feeding people to the pigs with Brad Pitt? He was married to I don't hold it against him, but Madonna. Yeah, I like that guy. I think he would be excellent for directing a black and white movie. I'm blanking on his name right now. Nova Blast. If everyone had guns the same way, we all have knives, most of negate issues would exist. I believe so. I think it's the same as like if you have a nuke, if you have a weapon, in the right hands, I think it creates more peace than it does anything else. I think it stops things from being falling into anarchy. I sincerely do. And I'm not a gun person, but I know that some of my neighbors are, and I like the fact that they are. I'm not even saying I do have a gun or don't have a gun. I'm just not a gun person. But I like the idea that if somebody breaks into your house, they don't know if you have a gun or not. You know what I mean? So it keeps people honest. It's a deterrent. It becomes a deterrent. It keeps people honest. Taser bullets. It could be that. Yeah, we're good. I don't know. I don't want to get into like crazy super science. I kind of want to make the science of black and white where it just works on a very quick, superficial level. I don't want to get into too much detail on it. Mun is hot too. Yeah, she is. Didn't she play Psylocke? But they didn't really give her much to do in that, so that was kind of sad in the X-Men movie. Right now, I'm not going to say, but I will be announcing down the line. So I kind of want to play close to the vest, just to make sure that everything is legit. And that's just me personally. But it's going to be Agent de Camp. It's going to be very, very transparent. I'm going to show working stuff. I'm going to talk about it. I've already talked. His name's John. He'll be my partner on this, and we're going to keep it. We're gonna let people see development. We're gonna send out press releases. We're gonna develop this in front of your very eyes. So that's gonna be fun. Spears car, LOL. You are upwind from Thibert's fire. Is this gonna be right now? We don't have an animation company attached. So what? This is an animation development company. So what I'm doing is I'm partnering with a development company. They have ties with animation studios that can animate, that actually can do the animation work. But what we're doing is we're developing the show. So we're developing a Bible, the episodes, at least the first 26 episodes, a loose episodic rundown of season 2. And then we're going to have concept drawings and, of course, synopsis on the show, the characters and all that. So that's what we're doing right at this very minute. And then once we get that done and we're happy with it, and possibly even you guys are happy with it, I'm going to run it by all of you. Then we'll start shopping it to different networks. And then the network will pay for it. They'll pay us for it. And then they'll pay for the actual animation work. So that's the theory at this point, or the idea at this point. Art, you're in dangerous territory. Move on, please. I don't want them to try to ruin you. I had this conversation with John this morning. So, I mean, it could happen. But at the same time, one of the reasons, I'm Comicsgate, and one of the reasons I hang out with you guys is I kind of do want to say my piece to a certain extent. You know what I mean? I do want to say what I think. So it makes it personal, and I'm kind of tired of walking the line, kind of like agreeing with my silence, and I don't want to do that anymore. Oh, you guys are so funny. Ooh, I could do that, and then I'll leave him at the studio. I'll leave him. I'll abandon him. Hello. Hey, Pablo Romero Art. Yeah, I was going to do some other stuff. I also have this Anita Sarkeesian. Is that how you say her name? So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. I should try to catch up in the stream before I go into a different topic. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Snatch. That's it. Yeah, that movie is awesome. I like that movie. Guy Ritchie. Yes, thank you. I like that guy's sensibilities. Sean Fry. I'm a Comicsgate supported. I spend my hard-earned money supporting original comics, and I am black. I don't wait to support artists who don't respect me. Dude, this is a direct to the consumer movement, and that's another reason I hang out with you guys. I get feedback from you guys, and trust me, when you guys speak, I do listen. I think about it. So I forget who it was that was saying maybe I should move on. Yeah, I mean that's good advice too. I don't want to harp on it. Too late. I'm canceling art right after this live stream. I hope that's a joke. JDA Shinobi. So you are here being a spa because you have no work to do. No one wants your crap, JDA. I don't know what that's in reference to. Maybe I should read these before I click on them. But it's easier for me to read because it's hard to read the smaller versions. Those Korean animators move too damn slow. Something happens in the world. The Simpsons is what's it? Commenting on it 9 months later. Yeah, I don't know, man. If somebody wants to pay for the animation, who am I to get in the way? Why did Youngblood cartoon fail? That's a question that I can kind of answer, but I don't know if I should. I think money, and I think expectations. I think Rob Liefeld. Okay, so the backstory is Rob Liefeld, I think, had an animation deal with the network, and I believe that he had certain criteria that he wanted, and I think he was unwilling to compromise. In a nutshell, I know there were probably a lot more things going on than that, but in a nutshell, so I believe he pulled away from that. And I'm telling Rob's story here, but I'm just going to give you kind of an overview, not get into too much detail. And so then he tried to put it together himself, and he had a trailer. It looked awesome, man. It looked really cool. And one Christmas, he actually gave me an animation cell. It's a Die Hard cell. Yeah, so I actually have an animation cell from that cartoon show, which was pretty cool. That was very generous of him because I know they meant a lot to him. And so he gave me that. And the animation looked really, really cool. But I think it's a combination of expectation. It was a combination of expectations and money. And I don't blame him. Like, these are your babies, and you want to kind of make sure that they're done the best you can. But at some point, it's out of your hands. You can only do so much because he's not an animator. He's not an animation studio. And I remember talking to Jim Lee after that, because Jim Lee actually, he got the deal that Rob Liefeld walked away from. So the Youngblood animation was, I think it was originally the Rob Liefeld deal. And I remember talking to Jim, and Jim Lee said, he said, I think I got the deal because I went in there and I said, I don't do animation. I don't understand it. So I'm not going to tell you guys how to do your job. So if you want me, I'm here and I'll help you. But other than that, I'm going to stay out of your way. So I think he kind of played, and Jim's always been good at playing the good cop. And so I think he said what they kind of needed to hear at that moment. And so that's why Wildcats went forward and Youngblood didn't. I just think that Rob is very passionate about his creations, and he wanted it to be the best it could. I think Rob has a way better chance of doing something like that today if he didn't lose the rights to it. And that's another thing. I mean, there's a lot of stories that exist, cautionary tales. So trust me, I'm taking them all into consideration going in. So my eyes are wide open. Matt Cisco says hate equals views. I'll start talking more hate. Hate. I don't hate anything. Too late, I'm canceling. Oh, you already said that. I read that. For some reason, I was going backwards. Giant killer robots. Yes, let's see what Jim Cox says. I just saw Giant Killer Robots is an underrated animation company in California. Oh, really? Maybe we'll use them. It seems like it'll fit. It'll fit perfectly. So I think they got pretty good ties with Titmouse, and I think there's Nelvana. There's a lot of Canadian, because this is a Canadian company that I'm partnering with. Don't let that be used against you. But there's a lot of Canadian companies and animation companies, and if the reason Hollywood likes the Canadian companies is because I think Canada, as a country, gives them tax breaks, and they if they use Canadian help, they employ Canadians, they get they get tax breaks, so it works out for them. Oh yeah, both those movies are really, really good. I even liked his stupid franchise ones. Like I like the Sherlock Holmes movies. I did like the Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I did hear that they're going to try to do another one, which I think was the original idea, is to try to serialize that stuff. So that would be cool. So this is what you call a compusalt. It's a compliment and an insult at the same time. A compusalt. So there you go. There you go. You take the good and you take the bad. I'm not apparently who you think I am. I don't know who any of you guys are. To be quite honest. So what is Agent DeCampo? Oh, oops, dinner ready. Got to go. Oh, yeah, time zones. Hell Comics Gate, Hell RT Bear. Thank you so much, man. Go enjoy your dinner. I'm going to be wrapping this up soon anyway. I'll get my drawing done later. How dare you? We have R that says, Art, I love your style on Chrono Mechanics. Hope that gets animated interest as well. Well, the thing is, once you start, and you get a certain level of success, it kind of builds. So that would be cool as well. Just an insult. Okay. Where was that? I saw that. Thank you for reminding me. Oh my gosh, I saw it highlighted, but I didn't see it in the chat. Let me go back. Hopefully it hasn't been. Thanks for reminding me. I'm still kind of new at this stuff, even though I've been doing it for a while. Oh no, it didn't go back. How do I check this? Oh man, I suck. It won't go back any further, and I didn't see it. Well, thank you so much. I think it was for $20. Thank you so very much. And whoever you are, please, if you're still in the chat, re-ask the question and I'll read it, because the chat only goes back so far and I didn't see it, so I apologize. And if it was a question, please state it again and I'll read it. But I do appreciate, thank you so very much, and thank you for reminding me that I had a super chat. I don't know how to go back to it, because it only let me go back so far. There are special windows for super chats. I thought there were, but I can't. It doesn't show up. It was there, but it isn't there anymore. What is this? I don't want to click anything because I might actually do something wrong. Private chat, brand, banners, comments. I don't see it. I know that it exists. I got to ask somebody then, or take some chances and click on some of these buttons. That's not it. Yeah, I don't see it. So I do apologize. I'm so sorry. But please, yeah, reinstate your question, and I'll read it. And let me know that it was the super chat. I would appreciate it. Yes, but if you say that, then you're racist and you're stupid and you don't understand. You don't understand anything. Oh! Was it Daniel C? I'm sorry. See, this is the problem. Thibert, it was me, no question. I just wanted to congratulate you and give you some money for a drink. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. And I will take my family. My family likes Starbucks, so I'll go out and get them a Starbucks coffee. So thank you so much, man. I do appreciate it. That was very, very generous of you. So thanks, and sorry for the craziness. I should start reading those as soon as I see them. Black Lives Matter. I don't even know what this means. What is THOT? Thought? Thought? Lives Matter. Thought lives. Yeah, the thought police, man. They're going to police you. They're going to throw you in jail. So it was just, let me see if I can, I'm going to say this real quick just because it's kind of topical. Let me go into this. It's Anita Sarkeesian. This is the insanity, man, that's running amok. Anita Sarkeesian calls for Legos to remove police-themed sets, as if police in general are the problem. We already kind of talked about this, but the police, it's a thankless job. 9/11 people weren't saying, oh, screw the police. Whenever there's something that the police do well, they're always like, oh, man, they're like superheroes. They're great. And then when something like this happens, they're all villains. So, Anita, back off. There was one bad cop that did a bad thing. It was horrific. It was horrible. He's in custody. He's in jail. So are the three that watched, the assholes that watched. So justice is being served. We don't have to overcompensate. We don't have to virtue signal. We don't have to do this crap. Kids should see police. They should aspire to be good cops. They should aspire to want to help. They should want to keep the world sane. That's what police officers do. 99.9% of them are good cops. There's just a small percentage of them that do bad things. And that's with life, man. Let's look at this not through your little virtue signal glass, but let's look at this through a realistic, let's look at the good, the greater good that they do. They stop the world from falling into anarchy, and it's a thankless job, obviously, when stuff like this happens. This is not racially motivated. Black cops kill white people. White cops kill white people. These things happen. There are bad people in the world, Anita. There are people that sometimes escalate things, and the cops have to use lethal force. I'm sure they don't want to. I'm sure that will haunt them the rest of their lives. I'm sure it's not an easy decision to make, but for the greater good, they do it. And for the most part, life does not fall into anarchy because they exist. Is it a perfect world? Is it a perfect system? No, it is not. But once again, no peace, no justice, or no justice, no peace. There is justice. It is being served. So I don't know if you guys heard this, but this blowhard wants to pull Lego sets. So Sarkeesian's comments come after an email began circulating from whoever this other, indicating that Legos had requested a number of police and fire Lego sets be removed from marketing campaigns and for sale. Man, this is really virtue signaling, guys. This is absolute overcompensation. What is it? So reported Thor actor Natalie Portman, Captain Marvel's Brie Larson signed open letter to defund police departments. You people are insane. You know, as soon as the world falls into chaos, they're going to be the first ones that are going, I want to get a gun. We need police or they won't say we need police officers. They'll figure out some new narrative to create so they don't look like hypocrites. We need some type of people to come in and regulate and organize, and we need them to uphold the laws, these laws that we've created. And then they'll have to reinvent the police, you know, because they're idiots. This is still the best system we have, people. If you have a problem, then you should take that up with peaceful manner and go to the police force and say, we need to get some new rules and regulations involved so this doesn't happen, or we can minimize this stuff. It's also, I don't think all these things are racially motivated. If a white cop shoots another, you know, person for resisting arrest or whatever it is, why isn't that a hate crime? You know, it's still a shooting. You know, a cop shoots another person, but that's not a hate crime. It's not racially motivated. Hey, Pamela, have you seen all these? These are the toys, the Lego toys that they want to pull down. Sky Police Air Base, donut shop opening. Police station, downtown fire brigade. Like I said earlier, I guess they don't want young kids to possibly grow up wanting to be police officers or firemen and try to give back to society. You know, they're convinced that all these people are horrible and we don't want kids playing with these things. But like I said, where were they at 9/11? You know, Hollywood was worshiping these guys, saying they were heroes. And now because of the act of one person, they're condemning everybody. Please, monster truck. That sounds fun, actually. Mobile command center, police helicopter transport, burger bar, fire rescue. Well, that sounds fun. Why would you want to take that? Oh, I like this. Sky police parachute arrest. This all sounds like good, clean fun, you guys. And what was the thing you read? Was it the White House? They wanted to take the White House Lego?
Yeah, it's what I heard. That they're going to pull that one from the shelves.
Oh, wait, it keeps going. Police bike, police pursuit. Thank you, Lego. Thank you for pulling all these horrible toys down so kids can't aspire to be cops or firemen, or at the very least, have fun. You can't have fun playing cops and robbers anymore. We can't do that. Yeah, so insane. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, so I guess anything but the donut shop. Yeah, we can't have that, man. Oh, you guys are awesome. Not the donut shop. Yeah, how will the cops get nutrition? What will they do with their lunch breaks? Okay, this is good. We're getting deep here. The foolishness of God is wiser than the wisdom of man. They're going to feel like idiots, like they defund the police and well-regulated militias start popping up. Yeah. And then the militias are going to be able to police too, right? So giving the power to the average citizen or creating militias isn't going to fundamentally have the same problem. These are fundamental human problems. These aren't fundamental police department problems. These are fundamental human problems. There are good and bad people in every aspect of society. There are people that use their power, and there are people that use their power for good. There just are, man. There just are. But what we have to do is we have to try to regulate. We have to put rules and regulations in place so we can sort them out quicker and that we can get them out of the system. Recognize quickly and then remove them. Because if we can do that, then we can minimize the bad cops from the good cops. But these things are going to happen, you guys. The system is not perfect. It is not perfect. But this is not racially motivated as well. This is a police thing. If Black Lives Matter has a problem with the police department, they shouldn't call it Black Lives Matter. Because this isn't a racially motivated problem. This is a human problem. This is a problem with unchecked aggression, mental instability, maybe possibly seeing too much shit on the job, people becoming hardened. You know, there's so many different factors that lead into somebody's psyche either being broken or them coming in with a broken psyche, you know, ends justify the means, whatever it is. But if there's a system, which there are systems in place, but if we gave them more power or possibly stepped it up and put more importance on it and maybe didn't shame cops for going in and getting some of the help that maybe they need, maybe we could change it, because there is a lot of pride involved. Those guys don't want to go for help. You know, if they're having trouble, you know, they don't want to go for help because of their pride. It's a sign of weakness. And I understand that as well. But if we get rid of the shame and we can make it more of a norm, then maybe we can educate the police, and we can get rid of some of the faction that is screwing things up. The saying, one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. That's the situation we're in. Not all cops are bad. We need to stop this narrative. We need to stop this nonsense. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. Not all cops are bad. Bankers are gamblers. Yeah, I mean, there's good people there are people that do good things with your money and your investments, and there are people that do bad things. You know, there are good people on the freeway. There are bad people on the freeway. There are people that cut people off and flip you off. And then there are people that give you leeway and let you merge and are very polite. You know, that's just how we are. But we're not all the same. And there are bad people, and there's everything in between. There are good people, there are bad people, and there's everything in between. I should say it that way. That's my 2 cents. Oh, man, I went off on a tangent. I wanted to talk about Legos, and all Lego blocks need to have a buzzer built into them so I can find them if they are dropped. Yeah, because the thing is, I think you're alluding to the fact that you can step on them and they hurt. Is that it? I think it's funny too. There's some kind of symmetry. There's a joke in there, like Lego blocks, and that people are throwing bricks at people's businesses. I know there's a joke in there somewhere, but I don't want to make it. I don't want to seem insensitive. Sky says, I totally agree. Yeah, and I'm realistic enough. I've been on the shitty end of cops. I've had cops pull their guns on me more than once in my life. I didn't understand it. I thought it was overdone, and it was way too much. We had a neighbor that lived across the street, and he was drunk, and there was a little bit of a pursuit because he was swerving. So the cop pursued him, and there was a chase. and there was a shooting, and it was lethal. And I was there through the whole thing. And the thing is, it was a Hispanic cop. It was a white kid. Was that racially motivated? Did that guy hate whiteys? I don't know. It was tragic. It was horrible. It was just something that happened. These things do happen. Maybe if this, the kid across the street didn't resist arrest, maybe if he would have done exactly what the police wanted at the time, maybe he would be alive. But he didn't. Did he deserve to die? No. But I'm just trying to say these things do happen. And that the police, it is a tough job, and things like this do happen. There was, in where I grew up in Norwalk, there was this guy on PCP, and he was jumping from backyards to backyards. He was just out of his mind. And so there were 3 cops that were called, and they were following this guy, and they were trying to subdue him, hold your ground, stop. And this guy, I guess there was a bunch of logs. I guess somebody just chopped down a tree or was using them for fire, for fireplace or whatever. And he grabbed one and he came after these cops. And their service revolvers, I remember they said that they were all empty, that they all unloaded on this guy. I thought, like, this is crazy overkill at the time for a guy on PCP coming after them. But I wasn't in their shoes. I wasn't there. I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? I just heard about this. So things like this happen. They do happen. Cops have to make decisions quickly. And sometimes it may be the right decision. Sometimes it may be the wrong decision, but they're human. And it's still the best system that we have. And it is flawed, but every system is flawed. And the only reason I told this to you guys is because I'm not black. And the people that this happened to, they weren't black. So this white privilege and this thing that everybody wants to create, it doesn't exist. I think it's a poor person, rich person thing. I think privilege works that way. I think poor people don't have a voice and rich people do. Rich people are treated differently than poor people. So most of the violent crime is done by poor people, and most of these acts are done or perpetrated onto poor people. Just because that's the way it is. So then I have there was a guy that was walking around, and he had a rifle. It was like a hunting rifle, and it had a sight on it and everything. And so we saw him up in the hills behind the house. So we called the cops. We called the police. They came down in a timely fashion, and they took that guy into custody. And it turns out that it was a replica of a real rifle, like a BB gun or a pellet gun, but it was still almost to size. And who knows what that guy's intent was. But they got this guy, and then another police officer came up to the house, and they told us the story. So they followed it up and things like that. So, I thought that was pretty good. I didn't know what that guy was up to. Even with a BB gun, like, at best, was he up there shooting people's windows out? Like, who does that? It's still kind of an out of place, thing. But that exchange with the police officer was perfect, So, and I was thankful for it because I didn't know, and I wasn't going to confront this guy. Was that stating the obvious? Yeah. Well, anyway, that's my soapbox. I got up on it. I got pretty high and mighty there, But that's how I feel, and I think that that was my therapy time too. So I hope that helped you guys as well. Just kind of talking about it sometimes helps. If you see someone walking with a machete during a 90-degree sun without a shirt, it was best to walk around to the other side. Yeah, like machetes. Yeah. Well, isn't there something now that they're talking about Looney Tunes that Elmer Fudd isn't going to have a hunting rifle anymore? He's going to have like a machete or some kind of like sickle or something like that. Like that's better. You can kill somebody with a fucking rock. Cavemen did it all the time. You know, like if you want somebody dead, you could use other things than a gun. And people do. What was it? I think this was years ago, like statistically speaking, weren't they saying like a hammer and then family like knives, like steak knives and frying pans and stuff? There were a lot of people killed with those things. With a hammer, you can do a lot of damage, man. Yeah, so you can kill people with other things. I think it's simple-minded. They think like, well, if you didn't have any guns, we'd have the perfect world. No, it would be crazier. It would be crazy. All right, you guys, I've rambled long enough. I should go. So yeah, like this was this is the best with the animation and stuff like that. It's awesome. I will keep you guys up to date on everything as it progresses. I should get an overview this Tuesday. No, it's actually this Sunday, and then I'm having another meeting with my animation partner Tuesday. So I should have some information Tuesday that I can bring to you guys, and we'll see how this progresses. But at this point in time, Black and White has a developmental deal with an animation company. They develop animation, and they do have partnering. They have partnered with animation networks, like what I guess it would just be a network, like Netflix or Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, these type of companies. So at this point, we're developing it as a Bible, along with visuals, overviews, and episodes, complete episodes, 26 episodes, as a matter of fact. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'll keep you guys updated, and also I'm going to try to get John on the show so we can have a big old powwow and talk about the show and how it's progressing. So thanks you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for all the support. Thank you so very much for the super chat. I'm sorry we had a little bit of confusion there. I sometimes I think they're just going to stay in the chat section, but as the chat progresses, they go away. And I don't know how to retrieve those. I'm going to look into that after the stream. So thank you guys again. You guys are a blast to hang out with. Wait, I can't resist. Don't forget to give Liefeld an animation cell. Oh, that would be fun. I should. I don't know if they do animation cells anymore. They do it all digitally. But if they do, yeah, that would be cool. That'd be a nice little thing I could do for Rob, for all the support too. And Rob was a big backer of Black and White. Like he was a big reason it happened. So his support and his enthusiasm for the project was what started it initially. Shield the Black and White. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys are the best. Yes. So Black and White right now is we are doing a second chance campaign. I am working on the artwork right now. As soon as I have it finished, and I have the Indiegogo page done, I will go live with that campaign. So if you haven't heard, I have the volume 1 of Black and White. This is the Grey Capullo variant. And I closed it out, I think, a little premature. And so when I closed it out, I had a lot of people asking, how do they get a copy? So I was thinking I could sell them, through different ways. I could sell them the book. And so I decided Instead of doing that, I just do a second chance campaign. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do second chance campaign. So you'll have a shot at buying Black and White Volume 1, second chance, before I launch Volume 2 to get caught up to speed. And that pretty much the same campaign that I ran at that point, I'm going to run this time. So you'll have access to all of the stretch goal goodies, but I'm going to have to have them at a premium. So they'll be in a tier at a premium price. So it won't be outrageous, but it wouldn't be fair to everybody that backed the book the first time. And if the campaign is successful enough, I may do some stretch goals. So there may be some new freebies for this campaign as well. But I'm going to see how things go before I do that. So that's the second chance, and that's going to go up pretty darn soon. I was hoping to have it already up, but there's been a delay, a little bit of delay on the artwork. So I got that. And I do have, if you guys sign up for the pre-launch page, which is in the description right now, click on it, go to the pre-launch, sign up for it, and you will get this Zach Bradley Black and White 25th Anniversary trading card absolutely free with the backing of a book. And also, if you sign up now, when we go live, you'll get an early notice for it. So you'll know before anybody else when it goes live. And that way, when we have the early bird specials, you'll be able to get in there first before they sell out. And we're going to do a couple, well, at least one early bird right now that I have planned. So we'll see how that goes as well. So yeah, you'll get the free trading card and you'll get the early bird access. So yeah, Zach knocked it out of the ballpark. Look at this card. So cool, so cool. And this is only going to be, this is an exclusive for the pre-launch only. So this card will never be for sale or anything like that. It's just for the pre-launch. So if you want the card, please sign up for the pre-launch campaign and you will get it. No problem. Absolutely no problem. So yeah, we have that. And then Chrono Mechanics is still in demand, you guys. We are so close to the next stretch goal, which is the embroidered patch. So if you like cool stuff, and the embroidered patch is free, you guys. So if you back the book right now, you'll get not only all the other stretch goals, but once we hit the stretch goal of 45K, like I said, we're a stone's throw away from that, you will get the embroidered patch as well. So I think so far we have cool badges, buttons, we have guitar picks, we have the embroidered patch, and then also this almost seems like a moot thing now, but because of the stretch goals, the book went from 48 pages to 60 pages, and we got to upgrade the cover. So a lot of fun, and if we can keep it going, I'd like to do more stretch goals in the future as well. So that's going to be something to look forward to as well. So yeah, that's in the link as well. So if you want to go check out Chrono Mechanics Retrofit, the link is in the description. And if you want to go sign up for the pre-launch for Black and White to get the free trading card, that is in the description as well. So, oh my gosh, if I start clicking on things, I'm never going to get out of here. Hail Artie Bear, just got home from work. Congrats on the animated series. Yes. Hell yeah. Comicsgate 2020 is winning all the time. Yeah. And you know what? There's a lot of, like, the rest of the industry is kind of stagnating or just stopped altogether. And Comicsgate is still going strong because we're not relying on the same delivery service. And we can take it directly to you guys. And so with that, how do you fail? As long as the post is still shipping, we can take orders and we can ship them directly to you guys. No middleman, no diamond, and no retailers. So having hindsight now, it seems like it was the right thing to do at the time. All right. I'm so tempted to click on some of these, but I'll never get out of here. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much again for supporting this channel. And like and subscribe. If you know anybody that likes these kind of entertainment, please do. Turn them onto the panel. I'm saying a lot, so that means I'm tired. I'll do that drawing stream tomorrow. I promise you guys. I'll do some drawing for you guys. All right. So take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy your evening.